start with Jim. Sorry.
Father, we're so very thankful for this day, thankful for another opportunity to serve your will. Pray, Lord God, that you would grant us wisdom during these proceedings tonight and the grace to serve all of the communities that we serve. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, if you haven't noticed, well, I jinxed myself. I was going to tell you we had some hot mics, but even then, please remember to pull your mic to you. I haven't gotten very far, and it sounds like my mic's not working real well. Is somebody adjusting the sound on that, or is it just, there it goes. I think it's a little better now. Okay, clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Bixby.
Here.
Hatcher.
Here.
Billingsley.
Here.
Howell.
Here.
Rude.
Here.
Bellinger.
Here.
Curtis.
Here.
Alvarez.
Here.
Engel.
Here.
Whitley.
Here.
Chisholm.
Here.
Walters.
Here.
Keck.
Here.
13 present.
Thank you. I hope you all have had time to look over the minutes from our last meeting. I'd entertain a motion to approve it.
Move to approve.
Got a motion by Billinger, got a second by Howell. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, reports and proclamations, informational item. Quite some time ago, we entered into a partnership with Johnson Controls, and they are here tonight to report on the savings and efficiencies that we've been able to realize in Saline County in part because of their partnership. So I don't know who's coming up, but whoever you are, if you would come up, we are ready for you. Y'all would just introduce yourselves and go forward with your presentation. If anybody has any questions at the conclusion of the presentation.
Absolutely. Thank you, Judge. Quorum Board members, good to see you again. Obviously, I've seen better days. I kicked us off on Wednesday, but hopefully you guys won't give me a hard time with the breaks and learn. But Rob Branscombe, Director of Business Development with Johnson Controls Sustainable Infrastructure. Certainly some time has changed. The past couple of years was another gentleman with me. Things have changed. Taken over from Mr. Alex Ray, who was then presented the original performance contract to you all the way back when, I think it was in June of 2020 sometime. And so to the completion of the performance contract and the construction period, we are now in the payback of the 2020 which you represented. And under the measurement and verification, and the post-savings report is what you will be going through right now. Gentleman to my right is Brandy Lageru. He is a wizard when it comes to measurement and verification. Okay, this is the PhD Harvard version of the full conceptual idea of what has happened and what is going to continue to happen. If you have a question, you're not going to offend us either way. Just interrupt us. Angie, can I confirm how much time do we have with this? Okay.
Yeah,
You got it. So, like I mentioned with Brand's a scholar, so I think he's got about loaded with 35 slides. We're not going to go through every 35 slides to the full extent, but with that, I'll let Brand walk us through that.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Bram Nilagaru with the Johnson Controls. I'm a senior energy performance engineer responsible for doing measurement and verification for this project. So nice seeing you back, and good evening, everyone. Okay, the premise behind this presentation is basically to report the savings occurred during the installation period and also partial year one period. Can you go back to the previous slide, please? The post-installation report is from September 2020 through July of 2022, and also partial year one, which is about 9 months, but as of April, from August 2022 to April 2023. The presentation I'm going to give today is a very high level executive summary. So with that said, I'm going to talk about the savings numbers, where they're coming from, and some measurements that took place to quantify the savings. Hope that makes sense. So with that said, as we go along, if you have any questions, please ask. Again, today's agenda is a project overview, post-installation verified savings, facility, means their energy conservation measures, and also M&B activities, and recommendations, and questions. That's the agenda. Again, the goal is to present the post-installation and partial year one energy and operational savings for your project. These are the films for facility improvement measures for your project. Lighting upgrades, water conservation, HVAC controls. HVAC stands for heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. And HVAC upgrades, motor replacement, building envelope, solar PV, and boiler replacement. So these are all the measures we did as part of this project. So the installation period was about 20 months. As you can see here, we saved about utility savings about $246,000, almost $247,000. Utility cost avoidance about $4,400, and so totals to about $251,000. So we guaranteed during the installation period is about $100,000. So we exceeded the guaranteed savings about $151,000. So I already talked about the dollar savings. Here I just wanted to show the unit savings, which are, as you can see, I believe from 5th bullet onwards. So we saved over 2 million kilowatt hours, over 3,600 kW demand, over 15,000 CCF gas savings, and over 4,600 kilogallons of water. So this is a pie chart showing the total cost savings by measure, by film. As you can see, lighting on the way top, lighting and solar carried most of the savings, followed by the water conservation. Any questions so far? I stopped. Any questions so far?
The solar, what's that number up there?
Which number?
The number of solar savings, you said?
About 65,000.
It's 5773.
To be exact, yeah. Environmental impact on the greenhouse gas emissions. Based on the energy unit savings, we achieved a reduction of 1,500 metric tons of carbon dioxide, which is kind of a feel good about the environment. So project M&V stands for measurement and verification. So this is a plan for your project. The next steps are a high level of understanding how we quantify the savings for your project. Savings are based on the M&V options. You can see like A, B. So A, B, this nomenclature is based on the IPMDP, which stands for International Performance Measurement and Verification Protocol. Basically, there are 4 options, A, B, C, and D. However, for your project, the option A and option B. Option A is a retrofit isolation from the whole building. What it means is we are isolating a given measure from the whole building. For example, the lighting, the factors of its lighting are the wattages and the lighting burn hours, right? So we measure wattages both before and after, and operating hours. Option A is basically a combination of measured and estimated parameters, and they are done both before and after the retrofit. Option B It's the same thing, like option A, the only thing is you do continuous measurement on a yearly basis. The first measure, film one, lighting upgrade overview. So we replaced the standard efficient lighting fixtures with the LED tubes. We replaced about 6,800 lighting retrofits in about 14 buildings throughout the county. And we over 90 fixtures we measured. This table shows the measurement that took place before the construction, and the bottom table is after the construction. As you can see now, the wattages, especially for the post wattages, came a lot lower than we anticipated. That's a good thing, so we are able to achieve a net positive benefit savings. So this table shows the savings both in terms of dollars and the unit savings by building. So overall, we saved about 80,000. If you add the last two columns, it comes to about $81,000 for lighting. So the next measure is water conservation. We replaced the high flow plumbing fixtures with the low flow fixtures, and also we replaced some drains and sprayers in about 14 buildings throughout the county, and we measured the flow rates both before and after. Chart shows the pre-retrofit and post-retrofit. As you can see on the left side of the graph, the flow rates are a lot higher compared to the post-retrofit, so that's why we're able to achieve, overall net positive savings. This is also same thing, savings by building. So for water conservation, we saved about $54,000 during the post-installation period. A lot of HVAC controls upgrade in about 8 buildings. So I gathered data remotely. I analyzed the data, I prepared some charts, some graphs. So based on the temperature set point, so I'm just showing the next slide, the sample chart up there. So this is a chart, an example of average zone temperature at the county complex building. So as you can see in the graph, the temperature increases about 6 a.m. in the morning, and then the temperature reduces around 5 or 6 o'clock. So we are able to maintain the temperature set point. Savings by building, in those buildings, we saved about $20,000 as part of this film, or as part of this measure. So, this is the same repetitive here in the HVAC upgrade. We replaced about 36 HVAC units, from the county in the some building. So we measured both the before and after efficiencies of the units. So the similar chart, like water, you can see here comparison of cooling efficiencies before and after. You should have all this report, you can review in detail. Okay. So as part of this film, we are able to save a good amount of savings, about $16,000. Small measure in motor replacement, we replaced 2 motors at the courthouse, just in one building. I'm going to skip this. This is a small saving. Yeah, so here we saved about $2,800. Building envelope, basically this is to reduce the infiltration in buildings and also insulation. We did some weather strippings at some selected those in about 15 buildings. So again, this is a savings by building. We saved about $3,500 as part of this measure. Major film as part of your project. So we installed solar PV at 4 locations. The first one is Edison Complex, which consists of Health Department, Department of Human Resources, and the District Court, and County Complex, Detention Center, and Juvenile Services, OEM, and prosecuting federally. So I collect data on monthly basis and analyze the data compared to what we propose. So we are doing pretty good, and as part of this frame, next slide please. So this is a chart showing the data collection by building. So as part of this measure, we saved about $66,000 over the during the installation. Any questions on that? ED?
One question.
Yeah.
On that one, as we will be grandfathered, right, with the new legislation, because the cost of avoidance is paying back.
Yes.
Okay, so I just want,
We're a third party to,
Yeah.
we don't co-op, so,
yeah, but I just.
but it wouldn't apply to us.
Yeah.
Anyway, but we'd be grandfathered.
So similar to other measure, we replace the existing inefficient boiler of the courthouse, the new high efficiency boiler. Based on the efficiencies, so as you can see here, before the retrofit 80%, we assume the actual boiler we installed, it's about 81%. So because of that, we are able to achieve positive savings. Again, this is a small measure. We saved about $3,800 as part of this measure. I'm done with the post-install during the construction savings. Here I just wanted to show you the partial year 1 verified savings. This is about 9 months. Eventually I will provide the full year report at the end of the September. You will see more savings. So again, we guaranteed about $258,000. The total cost savings about $296,000. So we guaranteed about $258,000. And again, here we are exceeding the savings, even during year 1 by about $38,000. So this is the same thing on the swing.
I wasn't here when the guarantee was made. What if you didn't hit that mark?
And that would be, Judge, at the bottom of the chart, you see a surplus and shortfall. So what you're seeing on the guaranteed savings is what we contractually obligated to the county to meet year by year. And if we didn't meet that $258,000, then Johnson Controls would make.
You'll cut us a check.
And so in this case, the job is overperforming, and so any
Got it.
surpluses exceeds for the county to keep.
Again, the same thing, dollar savings, and also the last 4 bullets are unit savings. I just put this through here, the recommendations. I don't know whether they have a service contract or
No service contract.
the controls. So I mean, if you prefer, you can add a service contract for the controls. And also we recommend cleaning the solar PV panels, on a regular basis so that they're able to produce the electricity.
What was previously represented to the county back a couple of years, just for regular preventative maintenance, between vegetation and then every 18 to 20 soft washing panels, just prior to prevent degradation.
Question, what's the life expectancy on those panels?
There's a manufacturer warranty of 30 years.
So if the top one is the installation period savings. So overall, the measures both perform on savings. So construction savings cost about $251,000, again exceeding by about $151,000. Same thing for the partial year one period, we exceeded the savings by $38,000. Again, like I said before, the full year report, I provide the full year report, by end of September of this year. So that's all I have. Any questions?
One question that I have, sir, and actually, this is more of a question for the sheriff, ironically, but the low-flow water filters, regarding those, I understand that in the jail, that inmates have a limited period of time in order to shower. And has this affected hygiene overall, the low-flow water filters in the jail that you know of? That was one concern that I had when we approved this, is how that would affect that. Great, thank you.
Sheriff, if you don't mind me saying, it has affected the amount of times that y'all had to repair floods from it's turning on free flow.
Yeah, no, that's a different story.
Okay.
Shower time, no.
I hope you all understood my conversation, my accent, I apologize if you didn't, okay?
Brandon's very loose about it, so it's a free flow. This is Dad's country, so I gave him the scout report.
Does anybody else have any questions? Can this be emailed if it hasn't already, the executive summary to?
Yeah,
so I can
I
share
email, yeah.
with all of you?
I do have a question for you, sir. On these numbers and your KPIs and metrics, does someone else audit your numbers, or is this just strictly from your data that you pulled?
Well, strictly from our company, what we guaranteed the saving, I go back and look at the savings calculations. And also third party, they verified the HVAC and the lighting portion and controls portion. We did a walkthrough, I think Matt was here about a couple of months ago.
The first time you reported?
Yeah, the first time, even I came here 2 months ago. Remember that I came to the other party, they were making sure they were.
Oh, yes, yeah, when they were shooting all the,
Yeah.
yes, all the lights, yes, yeah.
So I assume at the end of the year, then, that will be audited too by a third party?
Yeah, not all the measures, some measures.
Okay. All right, thank you.
That's not part of the contract.
Rob, when we were working on this deal, one of the presentations, one of the slides that I remember Alex showing us is the actual utility bills for each building, each complex. I would like to see at the year review, I'd like to see what those utility bills were and compare them to what they are now. And that's simple terms that everybody can understand and show the savings from that.
Well, as part of the guarantee, we are not doing the utility bill comparison.
That's a different section of measurement verification in which the county budget do. You all do have the option to do utility bill comparison, but I will tell you that it is a greater expense in which the measurement verifications previously under.
Maybe we can get our staff to do that.
Yeah.
That is a staff request.
If you recall of the presentation, I talked about the M&D option, A, B, C, and D. This option C is the utility bill comparison.
We can do a year-to-year comparison pretty easily. We'll have to keep in mind that kilowatt hours change the price.
Sure.
But yes,
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you all very much. All right, no old business, new business. Exhibit A.
Move to approve.
A motion by Becky Keck,
Second.
second by Bisbee.
A resolution expressing support for Hot Spring Village receiving access to grant writing expertise with the Central Arkansas Planning and Development District.
We have a motion by Keck, a second by Bisbee. Any discussion? All those those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Resolution 2023-7.
E.
Make a motion for it,
Second.
Got a motion to read by title only by JR, second by Keith. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Read by title only.
Be enacted by the Court of Saline County, State of Arkansas, in order to be entitled to classified to claim services, professional services with the meaning of Arkansas Covenant, take 19-11-801.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Now, this is one that we're reading by title only, we're reading 3 times over the next 3 quorum court meetings.
Yes, I make a motion to approve this ordinance. We attended the planning commission last week, and they more or less said, give them a chance to look at it. We can do this anytime.
Got a motion by JR to pull Exhibit B.
Second.
We got a second by, let's see, by
Clint.
Clint, sorry Clint, I drew a blank.
All right.
Any discussion?
Did they give a timeline on when they want to have new rules written or anything like that? Because I thought we addressed a lot of concerns at the last meeting, but, I mean, I'm fine for pulling if they don't work it out, or did they indicate any time frame?
Well, this was, we got a mercy clause, it take, be July before it take effect. And they'll give us a report for then.
Okay, good deal.
We got a motion and a second to pull this ordinance. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? C.
Move to approve.
Second.
A resolution authorizing preliminary grant application process for the 2023-2024 Vodka Grant Program.
Got a motion by Keck, second by Billingsley. Questions or discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Exhibit D.
Second.
That was resolution 8.
8.
A resolution authorizing grant application for 2023-2024 stock grant program and providing other assurances.
Got a motion by JR and a second by CJ. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, you'll see an action item for verbal approval to pay a current part-time employee. This is, I just skipped over one. A verbal approval to increase a new hire to 1728, this made it through finance and committee. This is for Saline County Sheriff's Office.
Make a motion to approve both action items.
Second.
We got a motion by Curtis and a second. Who seconded that? Questions or discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Action items pass.
Move to suspend the rules and include Exhibit E as an addendum.
By Pat and a second by JR. To add Exhibit E. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Move to approve Exhibit E.
Second.
Act by the Quorum Court of Saline County, State of Arkansas, North, to be entitled orders to amend the 2023 Saline County Budget Ordinance number 22-36 to transfer funds therefore to various budgets and for other purposes. Whereas the assessor is requested to transfer part-time help to the assessor, personal property, full-time position in his office has been vacated in order to hire a replacement for that position immediately. The assessor requests to transfer those funds to the County General 1000 Assessor Department 105 Budget Article 1. Now therefore be it ordained by the Quorum Court of Saline County, Arkansas, Article 1, the sum of $600 is hereby transferred in the County General Tax Assessor Department budget as follows. Transfer from 1,0105 description part-time help transfer to 1,0105 description assessor personal property for the amount of $600. Article 2 is deemed necessary to smooth operations. Saline County government, this ordinance will be approved.
Got a motion by Curtis, second by Woodley. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
What number is that?
That's
That's not resolution. What number was that?
36.
You gotta call the world's ordinance.
Aye. Good catch.
Patrick,
Yes.
Billingsley,
Yes.
Howell,
Yes.
Ruth,
Yes.
Bellinger,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
Alvarez,
Yes.
Engel,
Yes.
Whitley,
Yes.
Chisholm,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes.
Bisbee.
Yes.
4, ordinance 2023-13.
All right, any discussion? Announcements, discussion?
I did want to ask about the sheet that's in front of us for the Humane Society. Is there anything you're supposed to do?
There's somebody signed up to speak on behalf of the Humane
Okay.
Society. Am I imagining correctly? Okay. Any other comments or discussion? All right, I'm gonna take a second. May 15th is National Peace Officer Memorial Day. That was this week, Monday. There's a gathering on this courthouse lawn in which some were able to speak. We were able to memorialize the men and women that each day decide that they're going to go and protect our lives, and we don't even know what's happening most of the time. County of almost 130,000 people, where we have municipal police officers, Saline County officers, state police, game and fish, so many of them that put themselves in danger. One of the things as I was warming up to do my little talk for 2 minutes, is 24,000 law enforcement officers that have lost their lives in duty. They've started taking note of that. There's been almost 1,300 in the last 3 years, and almost 1,100 in 2020 and 2019 alone. Our numbers are going up. There's divisiveness, there's people. It's tough to find people that want to put a badge on and take the heat that we got. But I'm gonna tell you something. In Saline County, in the state of Arkansas, and in this country, we've got some great ones. And I don't ever want to take it for granted. Why I appreciate that. This day is to memorialize those that gave absolutely everything. I think there were 11 that we named off, 8 that we named their names off. And I'm remiss, this hit me and I apologize. I came in hot from trip and ran up here, but it hit me, man, today's the day. So thank an officer. We live in a great place, and people look for a great place to live for a number of reasons. Education, safety, healthcare are some of those, but my goodness, safety's got to be at the top. So thank you to those that serve, and I just pray for the families of those who lost a loved one because they decided to give up themselves for somebody else to be safe. I just wanted to mention that. Okay. Public comment is reserved to 3 minutes. The first person for public comment is Kim Bourgeois.
My name is Kim Bourgeois, and Jim Whitley is my JP. I want to thank Jim and Clint Chisholm for sponsoring and getting the library resolution passed. And I'm grateful for that. I am here to talk to you about secure paper ballots. I know we've been talking about the library a lot, but I don't want us to drop the ball and forget about secure paper ballots. A paper ballot that is being considered needs to have a watermark on it and a hologram. It needs to be as secure, at least as secure as keeping it from like a $100 bill that can't be counterfeited. It needs to be counted, and depending on how many ballots you buy, they can be at least as little as 30 cents a ballot. And then I was looking at a review of the book, How I Stole Elections, which a lot of people haven't really read, they just kind of review. And from what I could see on the process of reading the book, although I didn't read the whole thing myself, I read highlights, so I'll tell you that right up front. But the position that I had read about was that Marlin didn't claim that he stole the election with paper ballots. He just said that he recognized the need for the oversight during the tabulation process. And also he had people watch when his votes were being counted. So when you consider paper ballots the next time you meet and you think about it, I want you to keep those ideas in mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bourgeois. Richard Mills.
Appreciate your service, appreciate the proactive stance in saving us all money with your electrical utilities and stuff, and being supportive of the VACA and the STOP grants. Those are important. And thank you for giving me a few minutes of your time. My name's Richard Mills, and I live here in Benton. Please note that I'm representing only myself this evening. I'm speaking in support of our library and the service it provides our community. My wife and I raised 2 children here and have made great use of our library over the years, beginning with when it was still located down on South Street. We have an amazing library, and I would put it up against any other in the state. Our library staff works hard to make it a pleasant and enjoyable place to spend time. Notice I said our. They actually work for the citizens of Saline County. It's been my experience that the frontline staff genuinely tries to be friendly and helpful, but that's not enough. At your April meeting, you passed a resolution suggesting that our library relocate sexually explicit books out of the section for minors to a new location. In response, our library director, Ms. Hector, publicly refused to accept your resolution as worthy to implement, and further stated that she believed that those for passage of the resolution favored erasing people of color and favored marginalizing the LGBTQ+ community. What a divisive statement. I would love to see Ms. Hector have a change of heart when it comes to what I believe is the emotional and psychological safety of our minors, and for that matter, those that work for her. Also, let's be real, this is more than just a parental matter. I publicly request that this quorum court encourage in the strongest way possible that the library board commit to following your recommendation and relocate sexually explicit materials away from areas allowing free access to minors. If this requires replacing the director, so be it. If this requires the library board to be replaced by this quorum court, you have the authority. It is in your hands, and you will be supported by a great many of your voters. There has also been a lot of misinformation spread in our community about this issue. This has nothing to do with defunding our magnificent library and its amazing programs, nor does it have anything to do with censoring or banning books or materials. It has everything to do with doing the right thing for our minors and future generations of library users. Let's protect them, and let's protect our library. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate all of your service.
Thank you, Mr. Mills. Bob Vitt. Recognize yourself. I'm sure I butchered your name.
No, Vitt. Yes, I
Didn't do as bad as I thought.
appreciate it, Judge. My name is Bob Vitt. RJP is Rick Bellinger. I've emailed him back and forth before coming tonight. My wife and I relocated here from Indiana 8 years ago, so I talk funny to you folks, I understand that. I developed a passion for teaching and protecting children while being blessed to teach elementary age children Bible quizzing at our local church for 19 years. Thank you for your willingness to discuss and vote on the library resolution last meeting. The resolution passed by the court asking for a common sense approach to relocating indecent, obscene pornographic material. That material being defined in Arkansas code away from children and minors was quickly rejected by library leadership. In an interview on KTV, the library director shared that they do not plan on following the court's recommendation. If the reasons for not implementing the court's resolution is because the library has policies in place that will not allow it to be followed, my suggestion is change the policy. In that same interview, a statement was directed to the Saline County Republican Women's Organization, which reads, quote, "I don't believe that their end game has anything to do with books, especially sexual content. I think that's the words that they use to get to the libraries. I think they want to erase people of color and marginalized LGBTQ people," end quote. I hope that statement was made in the heat of the moment. This type of rhetoric is not helpful from either side. Distasteful and threatening social media posts are unacceptable and must stop. This is not who we are. Most day-to-day library workers are caught in the middle of this issue, and they are just doing their job. They don't deserve to bear the brunt of this issue. I appreciate their service to our county. First Amendment protection is mentioned several times in the library policy statements. They believe any material on the library shelves is protected speech. However, the speech or expression is labeled obscene by applying the United States Supreme Court's Miller obscenity test, then the speech or expression is not protected by First Amendment and can be prohibited. So what can this court do? It appears to me that under Arkansas Code 14-14.705, a person may be removed from a county board for cause by the county judge with confirmation by resolution of the Quorum Court. Perhaps a more balanced library board of trustees would reach a mutual consensus. If there is no willingness to pursue a resolution, then any member of the Saline County Library Board of Trustees who affirms the continued availability of this material along with the supporting policies should resign or be removed from that board. I'm hopeful that Act 372 will address this issue, but I'm extremely concerned that there will be effects to litigate this act which could delay its enactment. Perhaps then the only viable option left is for we the people would be to put the decision in the hands of the voters in the upcoming election or special election. Surely both sides should be in favor of that. Thank you.
Mr. Vitt, thank you very much. Ms. Ann Sanders. You all may want to get your hand out.
And I'm with the Humane Society. I know most of y'all, I know most of you. Okay, so I gave everyone a copy of the statistics for last year, just kind of giving you an idea on the volume. You know, we normally average around 5,000 surgeries. We did 4,623 last year. Male and female, cat, dog, all it's broken down for you. Also went ahead and gave you the shot information and everything. October of 22 last year, we signed an agreement with the county. Will wrote that up, and it says services to be performed, the HSSC will provide spay neuter services to the residents of the county by holding spay neuter clinics. HSSC will provide an annual update to the Saline County quarterly activities undertaken by HSSC to benefit the residents. And he goes on talking about the funding and things like that, and it can be changed, obviously. It will be whatever y'all vote on. We normally get a check in April. It's May. I've been trying to get in y'all's meetings. There's usually a long line, and sometimes I can't get through security, and sometimes they tell you scan the QRC code and go home. So anyway, I've tried to get up here and visit with y'all. I did visit with the county judge in early April, and he did explain to me that the designated tax is not coming in as much as expected, and I understand that, but I'm just trying to get some kind of idea. I saw y'all were reappropriating some of the Saline County budget as Exhibit E. I was hoping I was in it, but I wasn't. So I just wanted to get some kind of idea, if y'all could give me an idea if it's like gonna be zero or something.
Do you have anything else to present?
No, I
Okay.
tried to cut everything real short for you.
We actually had a little discussion as we sat down. It's gonna be an agenda item on our next committee meeting in June.
Okay,
It's pretty clumsy the way we have to communicate sometimes, but we're gonna have to discuss it in committee. The gist of it is, the volunteer tax is not going to let us continue to fund it unless it picks up. So we're gonna have to, I'm gonna be asking for some people that might wanna focus on that with me, and also you, Ann, and then Hot Springs Village has some skin in the game as far as this is concerned. Lastly, the entire county has challenges. Municipalities have challenges. This is a real issue. We're not going to be able to continue to fund it with the trajectory, which is a downward trajectory of our volunteer tax. So we may either need to promote that tax and see how that does, but we are going to have to get together and discuss what's going to happen. You will get checks in the mail, right? We're going to discuss it in committee in June, and we'll be able to give you an idea of what that looks like. We'll satisfy our contract, just not going to be able to do it long term. So let me give them the numbers and what that looks like. So.
Good. May I?
Yes.
Would like to say to all of the, all the county, all of our folks that are watching online, and those of you who are here in the courtroom tonight, that before I was ever elected to the Quorum Court, we had a significant issue with stray animals in the county, and some of you remember that. And that was a lot of the issues that were brought up were packs of wild dogs and things like that in the county. And because that we implemented, the voluntary tax to deal with these issues, we have seen that substantially thwarted, and we need to see that continue. We don't need to see the problems that we used to have with animals in the county. So I would just encourage everyone, whenever you do your taxes, it's, what is it? $10, and it's definitely worth that if you can afford that at all for this, for this cause, so that we don't have those problems that we used to have.
Regardless of what committee looks like next month, it will be on our agenda. And I'll give you all, I know there's some new JPs also, and some of us need refreshers. Sheriff's Office, what they're able to provide us, Hot Springs Village. And Ms. Sanders, I can't thank you enough for your dedication in what you do. Resources that we have available to you.
Oh, thank you.
I want to say that I've been on this Quorum Court for 9 years, and it still remains the number one thing I get phone calls about.
Carrie Lapp. You introduce yourself, I'll start you.
Carrie Lapp. I know a lot of you through the library, but I have taken my library name tag off as I'm representing myself tonight. So I don't know all of you, but I do know a lot of you. One of you was my neighbor for 6 years, and you helped me figure out the do's and don'ts of being a first-time home buyer. Our kids play together, or my kids and your grandkids play together, and we helped share out as neighbors as needed. My husband and I even mowed your yard and did weeks worth of landscaping so your daughter could play in the backyard, or your granddaughter could play in the backyard. One of you I did leadership with, and they nominated the library for an award for our safety classes, which we won, and you went with us to the reception and went up there with me to accept the award. One of you I met through Maya, because I directed the program for 2 years while your child was on the council, and I still see your son in Walmart every now and then, and we chat for a bit about how he loved the group and what he's doing now. One of you helped me lead efforts to show support to outlying areas and lower income families in the outlying areas of Saline County. And then 2 of you I've spoken with on several occasions through business conversations, and then you partnered with the Library for Library Card Assignment. So I'm very glad to have had these friendships and these opportunities. But I wanted to tell you that today I'm hurt. I'm hurt that you all knew how to contact someone and ask questions and figure out a solution before voting on something that makes a great service in our community look like a bad guy. That you knew someone to call and ask what our current policies were, or how we already prepared for SB 81 to take effect before it was even passed. And now every day we face new names like pedophile, groomer, pervert, and we even have threats on Facebook, all because we are doing our jobs legally. We have the Constitution to follow. No one reached out to ask how we were doing that, but we're still trying to find ways that we can give place for all ethnicities, religions, genders, and beliefs, and provide information to parents that the community is being fed lies because of a resolution that made it seem like we weren't following the law already. I thought you guys that I knew might have reached out with questions, but you guys didn't, and so I guess I really didn't know you.
Ms. Lapp. Patty Hector.
I'm the director of the library, but I'm not going to waste my 3-minute opportunity to speak as a citizen of Saline County, talking about a resolution that concerns my job as an employee of the county. If you want to talk about that, then come see me at the library. Only 3 JPs have even talked to me, and no one has talked to my library board. I'm going to share with you what it feels like to be constantly dehumanized and criticized by a group of fanatics who post on social media every day about the library. How their hateful rhetoric and the words thrown at us by our own JPs has hurt the library staff. How calling library staff pedophiles demeans us and hurts people who have been assaulted by real pedophiles. How we fear walking out to our cars at night because we're worried that their name calling will resonate with someone who owns a gun. They twist every word from emails and texts, and they mislead people about the excerpts of books that they post. They put up a billboard that's so salacious and sensationalized that we have patrons calling who are furious that the library is being attacked. The library has yet to get a reconsideration of material form turned into us, but based on the books that they posted on their Facebook pages and comments at previous Quorum Court meetings, they are targeting books with gay characters and anti-white books. There is nothing wrong with those books. It's not illegal to be gay or trans. Same-sex couples aren't living, and there is nothing sexually explicit in your book. We are the public library. It is our job to make sure every child.
Ms. Hector,
Yes.
you're to address me in this court.
Sure.
If you can't do that, then we're gonna have to stop.
I'm almost finished. We are the public library. It's our job to make sure every child is seen, heard, and supported, not marginalized and targeted because they are not straight, white, and Christian. I know it's difficult to stand up against people who call you a pornographer, a pedophile, a pervert, but hate will only win if people stand by and let it happen.
Good evening, my name is Lee Espy, and I wanted to speak today as a library employee and as such a county employee. It is demoralizing that our education and our training have been ignored and pushed aside because a group of individuals is actively searching for books that they find inappropriate. They're not actively using the library for what its intended purpose is. They are searching for materials that they deem inappropriate. That's their right as a citizen of this county. They pay taxes for the books that are in that library as well. It would be great if the process was followed to have those materials reconsidered, but nobody has approached us in that manner. A public library is a space that has no political affiliation. We have no secular affiliation. A public library is a neutral space that provides something for everyone in the community, regardless of their beliefs. Contrary to popular belief, the library is in compliance with the law, and we will continue to be so. We are actively trying to be in line with SB 81 before it became Act 372, and our policy reflects that. So I just want to thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Espy. Gary Beck.
I'd like to speak. My name is Gary Beck. I'm a resident of Saline County. I'm a voter. I'm a Republican. And Ed Abreu is my JP. Ed, I would like for you to put a resolution up for our county to go to paper ballots. I feel that's very important for my children and my grandchildren's futures. And I appreciate if you did that. Second of all, is I'd like to say something about the voters of Saline County. The Republican voters are 69 to 75% not being represented on the county library board. I'll look at that situation and do something about it more. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Beck. Susan Anderson.
Hi, I'm Susan Anderson. I'm from Hot Springs Village, and I'm representing myself. And I'm here tonight because our library books are a significant issue for me. Putting books in the young hands of our children to see and view and to learn to read is vital for the healthy mind development and has been a woven fabric of our country from the start. I ask you to please remember the 12 to 13 generations that fought and died for the challenges to maintain truth for spirit and soul of this nation. The content of these books use a vast amount of our tax dollars, which I heard is around $550,000 for books alone, and does not include the cost for our ebooks or subscription services from digital sources outside of Arkansas, and are available for 8-year-olds to download. The content of these newer additions to our library lists of numerous sexual orientations and sexual orientation of our children's pedophilia. Sexual material is representative of free speech and our First Amendment rights. But I truly cannot envision this is what James Madison had in mind for our First Amendment. Young minds are truly impressionable and developmentally are not mature enough to understand the effects and impact of this content. It is important to fully understand the complexity and full impact this material will have on our young minds of this generation. From grooming of 0 to 7-year-olds with transgenderism with the book Jack, Not Jackie, to illicit steps and illustrations for teens, for males and female masturbation, and the importance of using a butt plug. The text states, dive deeper with your finger or butt plug. Just make sure any objects you put up there have a flare base. Otherwise, your hungry hiney will gobble it up. That's from Let's Talk About It.
Ma'am, we're not going to read from the books. I'm here for your point of view.
Okay, well, okay. Can I just state what that's from?
Sure. Yeah, you absolutely.
Teen's Guide to Sex, Relationship, and Being a Human. All caught with illustrations from a catchy animated talking cell phone. And finally, me and Earl and the Dying Girl have reviewed stating the awards, praises, and noteworthiness to know that this is one funny book. We need to change course, and we need to change course now. This is just one branch of the current weaponization being used throughout our country and right here in Saline County. It appears we have a number of uninformed citizens who say this is a right of free speech, but this literature capitalizes on the use of total confusion for our very young, confusion them from truth and the freedoms to cherish and enjoy happy and healthy childhoods. This literature is fantasized realities, and it is a basic function of our government to protect our youth. This is all a dangerous turn. I urge you to review and rethink the context of this material available to our children up to 18 years of age using our taxpayer dollars. Thank you, and thank you for our time.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. David Gibson.
Hey, David Gibson, CJ Engel, this is my JP. At the last Quorum Court meeting, our Quorum Court decided and asked the library to remove specific X-rated books from the children's section. Since then, the library director, I have reached out to the library board, got to thank you very much, sent a letter as a deacon of a church. The library director has appeared on several news outlets stating she's not going to comply with this request. Ms. Hector has also stated the books in question have already gone through a vetting process. So my question for Ms. Hector would be, since these books have been vetted, why were they placed in the children's section to begin with? The library staff are intentionally pushing X-rated books on children. Doesn't that demonstrate a failure on her part? Ms. Hector has claimed the librarians have done their job and reviewed the books, and if that's true, again, why are these books in a children's section? Again, does this not demonstrate a failure on her part? Ms. Hector and the library board has rejected the Quorum Court and decided that we're going to keep these books there. So I have to ask, why is their desire to have sexually explicit books so important to them? That's the number one question we should be asking ourselves right now. So earlier, a previous person mentioned all you have to do, that there have been attacks on social media, and all you have to do is look at social media and see what's being said and see where the vile comments are coming from. And unfortunately, many of these are coming from supporters of the library. It's easy to throw a name or an accusation, but just go look at what's online. Look and see where the vile comments are coming from. They're coming from people who support pornography in the children's section. So you talk about safety, yet you bring X-rated books into our children, and then you smile about it. There's nothing acceptable about that. So many conveniently forget about the safety of our children, yet you call us bullies. You call us vile. You support X-rated material. So may end with this. There has to be consequences for this failed leadership. There has to be accountability. When you have a director who has gotten the response from the Quorum Court and they go on network TV and say, I'm not going to do it, I ask that you remove Hattie Hector and any associated library board of director from their position and replace them with someone who has the values and ethics of Saline County voters. Thank you.
Mr. Gibson, Ms. Cheatham.
My name is Lydia Cheatham, and Rick Ballinger is my JP. I'm here for myself, and I do work in the library. When a person does the job, usually someone checks their references, gives them opportunities to prove they are right for the job. You're given a task, you do your due diligence, seek professional advice from those who know the subject if it's out of your range of expertise. You present your report to your boss. As JPs, when you approach, you set up a committee to delve deep into the issue. You seek advice from the professionals. If it's concerned the place, you go to investigate, right? The people of Saline County would expect you, each of you, to be good, really great at your job. Check out the problem with your own eyes, your ears, and your mind. We voted for you and expect you, as your boss, that you do the job you were hired to do. I don't expect each of you to have professional engineer's license and create a solution when a bridge falls in the county. You have experts for that. I don't expect you to have an accounting degree with a CPA attached so that you can check out the accounts of all the apartments of the county. But I do expect each of you to go out into the county, not just around your church parking lot, and talk to all your constituents to check the pulse of the community. I have a question. The ones that have been complaining about the books, do they ever come to the library staff and ask their concerns for the reconsideration forms? Not one. But they did search the library for all the specific books that they didn't like. Not everyone in Saline County belongs to a Christian church. And according to the First Amendment, all Americans have a right to believe or not to believe. Religion may not be forced upon an individual. As a parent, I went to the library with my child. We looked at the books. They read what I approved. We talked about the ones that were controversial and different. But they didn't that doesn't give me the right to pull any and all books that I deem inappropriate from the shelf. Each parent should have full control of their children and what they read, watch on television, on social media, not the government. It's beyond my rights as an American to tell you what you can and can't read, say or not say, even who you pray to or not pray to at all. The library is a safe haven for thousands of county residents, the elderly, the homeschoolers, the low-income families that can't afford computers or Wi-Fi, and so many more programs for the community. Saline County, a place of pride. Stop bashing one another. I do believe in do no harm with who I am, what I do, and what I say. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "What you do speaks so loudly that I cannot hear what you have to say." Please let our actions speak volumes. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cheatham. And last is Alexis Agnew.
You got it. It's Zero T, but no relation. Some of y'all are not old enough to get that reference. I'm not. Hello, everyone. I'm Alexis Agnew. I am with the Saline County Library Alliance. I support the Saline County Library and have frequented it. I don't know if many of you have. I won't embarrass you by asking if you have a library card. Probably you might want one. So, and I won't even insult you further by asking who in the audience has a library card, if you stepped foot in front of the library, in the library, or attended the events. I have. Carrie in particular puts on free events to adults for anybody who wants to show up. We just recently went to Jackbox on Friday. That is a free event for the community. I'm brand new to Saline County, well, 2 years, but you know, for some of you guys, that's a blip. And I could not have done, we wouldn't have any of the relationships with people that we have had it not been for the events that she's on. She's a friend now, and I just can't believe that this issue, libraries like the Humane Society, are nonpartisan. So I want to take a single moment to express a little bit about the Saline County Library Alliance. We are nonpartisan, and that's important to point out. Nonpartisan organization. We do stand in response to the rise of anti-library sentiment in the community. We exist and will mobilize Saline County residents both to support the library and educate the community about the library and the local government. We are going to stand in defense and solidarity of the library and all of its staff against misleading, against false, and against hateful speech. We will defend the First Amendment and oppose governmental overreach regarding library regulation and censorship. And of our long-term goals, we want simply to have a more civic, active, and thoughtful Saline County by way of increased awareness on local government and important community issues, and successfully see the library through the other side of this wave of anti-library hatred. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Agnew. That was it for public comment. Does anybody have any questions or comments? May 29th, I forgot to mention this, is on the courthouse lawn. For anybody watching at home or in the audience. It's going to be at 11 o'clock at the Veterans Memorial at the courthouse lawn. We're going to have our Memorial Day ceremony. Please attend. Please tell somebody else to attend. Any other comments?
Judge, I'd like to say something if I could.
Sure.
I'm probably gonna get in trouble for what I'm fixing to say, but I'm gonna go to the Bible. And there's a verse in Deuteronomy that says that the Lord told the Israelites, we've toiled this mountain long enough. We've toiled this library, to me, we've told this long enough and talked about it, but I'd like to take up for the Quorum Court for just a second. We support the library. We're not trying to shut the library down. All we asked was for this X-rated material to be moved to the adult section. If it had been done so, we wouldn't be here tonight going through all what we're going through. And I don't understand how some people can understand. It's the obscenity of these books. It's not about race. It's not about LGBTQ. If it's LGBTQ and it's sexual content, then move it to the adult section. If it's not, don't move it. To me, that's simple. I think we're missing something here. The other thing is, in Arkansas, and probably across all the United States, you're a minor until you reach the age of 18. And I know there's some law that says the library is exempt, but who in the world would want some of this stuff that I've been reading, or our children to have access to it? I don't understand that. I don't understand that at all. And I don't think the law that's coming up starting July 1st, Ms. Hecker herself made the comment that the resolution had more meat to it than that law did. So what I'm asking, is the Quorum Court going to wait till July 1st and let the state take care of this? Or are we going to stand up and do something about this? And again, this is not about LGBTQ. This is not about race. It's not about marginalizing whatever. This is about obscene material being in our tax-funded library. You might as well put a Hustler magazine on the shelf in there. And I guess they could if they wanted to. If it's legal, if you step through the library door, is that where censorship stops?
Clint, I gotta say something. This is strange, but it came up in my house last week, and my wife said something about we have to sign a permission slip for our 8-year-old son to go to the library. And normally you'd think, oh, that's great, you know. But after some of the stuff that we've read and been exposed to, I'm paused. But I mean, I signed the permission slip because it just hurt his feelings that all his buddies got to go. And a teacher, we talk about it being a parent's control, a parent being in control, and I want parents to be in control. The parent can still go find these books if they want them. So we had a simple ask, and I promise you, not one person on this Quorum Court was disrespectful to the other side. We cannot control both sides. We cannot control the actions. We made a simple ask, and that has not been followed. So I'm with you, Clint.
I want to say one more thing. Again, hey, the library does a lot of good things. Does a lot of good things. And I support the library. And no, I don't have a library card, but I am a big reader. I read a lot. I usually go buy a book when I want to read something. I'll go buy it and I'll read it. But I just feel like somebody in this whole argument is missing something here. The Quorum Court has never, ever been against the library. The resolution doesn't say that. The resolution just asks for this material to be moved to an adult section. Why there's so much pushback against this, I don't know.
Judge, it's in a representative republic in which we live. Basically, the constituents of each district vote in someone that they trust to speak on their behalf for their interests. And we are those people representing the county. And this is a county library. And so the people of this county have spoken. And I understand there's a lot of people online speaking back and forth, but the people, through their elected representatives on the Quorum Court, have spoken and given their opinion in this matter. And if the library chooses to continue to ignore the will of the people, then okay.
Mr. Everett?
Well, I felt like it was fitting since Jim wrote the resolution, Clint sponsored it first, and I was the last one sponsored, but I wanted to say something. There was an argument, you might say, a healthy argument, between some and the Quorum Court. Should we wait? Should we talk to the library people longer? And by the time we had that vote, I had very lengthy emails, which I returned and text to every single person that wanted to talk to me from the library, including library board members. And I answered and told why it was so simple. And in our board, we had a decision. Could we wait, talk to library people more? And my conclusion was, like Clint said, this was so simple. There's no reason to wait for something this basic and simple. If we'd been talking about this 30 years ago, they'd been like, what? Age appropriate is what every book should be in that section, should be age appropriate. And I agree with everything that both Jim and Clint has said, and I just wanted to finish by saying that I love the library. I've been here since '93. I got a card in my pocket. All 4 of my kids have cards. My wife, I think, didn't return enough videos on time, so I don't think she has a card. But everybody else in our family does.
First off, I think it's good for us to get as close to dealing with just straight up facts as we can. All will go into effect no earlier than first. There's a lot of July 1st talk going out there. It will not be going in first. Number 2, go ahead, Mr. Chisholm.
No, I don't want to interrupt you. I was just going to say, I'm going to admit to something. When I was 13-year-old, and I could go to that library over there without a parent, everybody keeps saying, well, it's parent. Well, you know, not all kids are going to tell their parent what they're, and they sure not going to tell their parent if they check one of those books out. But I had a motorcycle when I was 13, had some freedom. If I'd have known that was over there, I'd probably been over there and checked one of those books out. And I sure wouldn't have told my mom or dad what I had. And I personally, I'm going to say this one more time, I think this is harmful to our children. I can't understand why people can't see that some of our children aren't mature enough to be looking or reading this kind of material. This is not about trashing the library. This is about obscene material being put in the adult section. Simple as that.
Ms. Hector, Ms. Espy, would you entertain a question from me?
I would love to actually speak to the board, since no one ever invites me, I have to use my.
Will you entertain a question from me? It's just easy yes or no. Can you come up here so people can, do you recall me setting up an appointment with you to come into my office first week of March of this year after being in office for 50 days-ish? Do you recall our conversation talking about my concern about these books?
Sure.
Okay. Ms. Espy, can I ask you a question? Do you recall last Thursday calling me after our meeting on Monday with me and 8 library staff saying I want to keep our lines of communication open? And you gave me a heads up that there was something put online about 7 books that were ordered from the library. Why were those books ordered?
We were being proactive because the book has had so much a reconsideration of materials form is process is begun. Then a
Ma'am, let me stop you right there. You stated earlier that the process, there hasn't been one process done yet.
We had someone come meet with us about a specific book. No request was turned in, but we were ready because we thought it was coming.
There's been no requests turned in at all?
There have been no
requests. We were doing our due diligence.
Your due diligence includes reading that book,
It
correct?
includes with there's a.
Have all 7 of those books been read cover to cover?
Yeah, they're in the process.
Do you think maybe the person that filled out the request, along with your guidelines, your policy, may have also ordered that book and had to read it from front to back, and then to comply with your policy, have to quote, list each page and portion in that page that they have a problem with? So if your staff hasn't read it yet, but the process has been begun by an individual, right? Y'all bought the 7 books to be proactive because you think that person's serious. Okay,
I'm halfway through the book myself.
halfway through. You wouldn't have been able to turn one in either, would you?
And I'm only reading in 15 minutes when I have.
But you wouldn't be able to comply with your own policy if you're following the same timeline as the person that
I don't
solicited.
understand what you're saying. We
You're
bought
not,
the
you
books.
have to finish the book in order to return
Yes,
the reconsideration form, correct?
yes.
Okay.
I have to read it in its entirety.
Okay, thank you.
Judge, how much of a book do you have to read to understand that it's obscene?
To comply with this policy for reconsideration, you must read it cover to cover and then list page and material and turn it in. Ms. Hector, would you like to explain the process? So I don't want to talk about your policy.
372 requires you to read the entire book. You cannot just take portions. You can't base your complaint about the contents. It has to be the entire book. And that's our policy has always been that, and now Act 372 is that also.
Could you explain the policy more in depth of like when someone turns in the form, what happens so that the court and our citizens understand just better? So, because we're talking about it, we understand it, but when I met with you, I didn't understand it, so you can explain it better so everybody has a better understanding of what actually
First, they
transpires.
meet with me, they get the form, they read the book, they fill it out. Our staff reads the book, and this is all based on Act 372. We've already changed our policy, which didn't even need much changing. And then we will get back with the person who put that complaint in.
So, from when we met, it was 5 people that you choose, read that book cover to cover, they make a decision, and they discuss it with the person who has a complaint, correct?
Yes.
And from there, it goes to the library board? So it's
No,
just,
Act 372 took the library board out of it.
okay. So it's just the 5 people that you appoint to say if the book is good or not?
We used to have the library board as part of our process, but no.
And then as you understand Act 372, because it's all, where does it go for a grievance process after you make your determination?
That's when they can take it to the court.
But y'all would have to make that decision, that 5-person panel would have to make that decision before it goes all the way to the Quorum Court.
What's that process look like? Y'all meet, you meet ad hoc?
It depends on the book.
When you finish this book, what y'all's plan?
We will meet, and we will meet with the person that turned in the request for reconsideration.
You've already met with them once, right?
Yeah, you meet twice.
I would like to personally say, I think an expedited process would be a good recommendation.
What about what I said made you think it was not expedited?
When was the first time this person asked you for the request? I heard, when was that?
2 weeks ago?
Almost.
We bought the books, we're reading the books, but we still haven't gotten the request for reconsideration. But if we waited until we got it, then that would make it slow down.
So this court knows, it's my hope and truly prayer that we are, man, it's so good. This county's so good. And we great library, and we need to keep a great library. But we can't have the best library, I don't believe, in the disposition that it's in right now. That's my belief. I think dialogue and conversation and not hasty actions, which it's so difficult sometimes to be disciplined and see this thing through. July 31st is going to be the day that comes into effect. It's not challenging. And they're also. But I think that we need I want to congratulate you all because I agree with the comments that were made that from this court I know of, and I wouldn't expect anything less than respect and professionalism as we deal with issues that we're putting in place, careful to be in place to serve people by good discretion and being able to follow through with it and not making hastily actions. And so there is a process, I can assure you all. There is an exorbitant amount of time spent on this issue that, quite frankly, not a lot of precedent around here that has been set with some of the areas that we're looking at. So anyway, we'll continue to do that. You know, I'm open for any conversation. My experience has been a positive experience when communicating and asking questions of the library. I've been met with answers, and they have been kind and professional. That, I think it's clear where I stand on some of the issues as I communicated the first week in March of 2023. So with that, I don't have anything else to say.
Judge, could I ask you a question? And I don't mean to keep this going, but I'm not being facetious. I'm seriously asking a question that, and maybe it's because I don't understand this. But I don't understand how that, I mean, everybody that's looked at this knows it's obscene. I don't understand why the library has the authority to have obscene material. And maybe you can explain that to me, why we've got magazines and movies that are, you know, you've got to be 21 or older, 18 or older because of the content, I guess is what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. But what I'm trying to understand is, and I'm serious, I really don't know. Maybe that's what my problem is how can the library have that kind of material, but a 13-year-old can't go out to a store and buy this kind of material? I guess is my question. And I'm sincere about that. I don't understand that.
I don't think I have an answer.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second. Got a motion and second. All in favor, just say
Are we going to Sonic?
You gonna get them chili cheese hots?
Take your mic. Sit out.
Who got picked up on it?
Barb did. She was talking about going to Sonic. She got pinched.
We're going to Applebee's after this.